sure we're actually streaming on Twitch and that there's audio playing, which is why I'm talking like an idiot right now and babbling and making sure that there's going to be sound. There is sound, in fact. Okay. And Dementia Radio now and recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast. Brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FuMPCast. Sorry, I've been thrown. Wildcard just subscribed again. I don't know if anybody else heard that noise, but thank you, Wildcard. 43 months in a row for subscribing to our Twitch channel. Greatly appreciated. Welcome to episode 735 of the Funny Music Podcast for July 18th, 2024. Title of this week's episode is Incandescent Scent, which I just put in the chat so you can refer to it later. Your job is to work that into our conversations somehow. We have with us Drew Jacobs. Welcome back, Drew.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
And Harve Mann is back joining us.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, you have to make noise or the camera doesn't cut to you.
Okay.
And Luke Ski is back from his trip to Europe. Welcome back, dude.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, because when I did the typical thing at the beginning of the show and it didn't
okay.
to me.
No,
so.
I had nothing over here. That's why I was thrown,
Okay.
but that's fine. Okay, so
Last time I did the show, you were in the car, Luke.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Last time I did the show, you were in the car, Luke. Most important question. How's your car?
What was it again?
I said, how is your car? And why aren't you in it?
Because normally I'm supposed to get Thursdays off for the very purpose of doing this show, but sometimes either that doesn't happen or there's some other thing going on that I need to get to, and it just makes sense to do the show from the car. For example, this coming Thursday, I would probably be, on my way to see some debut showing of Deadpool and Wolverine. But that won't be the case this coming week because myself and my girlfriend Kalani, hi Kalani.
Hi.
More from her in a moment. Me and her and my roommate Santana are all going to San Diego Comic-Con. So next week, Thursday night, there's a decent chance I won't be on the show because I have no idea where I'll be and what I'll be doing and if I'll have access to the internet. So
okay,
who knows?
Fair enough.
Just heads up, Tom Rockwell.
Yep. Noted.
So
All right. Well, I got to play the jingle.
Okay, play the jingle.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke failed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
Oh, he's right.
So, how was your trip, dude?
Well, that's why I have brought Kalani to be on this opening segment of the show to officially introduce her to the FuMPCast world, and also because she went with me on this trip. And for those who haven't, who didn't know from previous episodes, this was a trip to England to visit my brother Michael, his wife Anu, who is a professor at the University of East Anglia. She also released an amazing book about the politics of India, which is pretty amazing. I should turn that noise off. And they have a 1-year-old son named Bodhi, who is super awesome. And so we planned this trip where my whole family was going out to visit them. So it was, us, it was myself, Kalani, my mom. Some of you know her as Mom Ski, if you've been to MarsCon or FuMPFest and run into her there. My older sister, Amy, my younger brother, James, his wife, Susan, and their 7-year-old son, Max. So that encompassed like a group of 10 human beings all hanging out together, the entire Crazy Sinkowski clan. And this was also Kalani's first time meeting them in person ever, was on this trip. So it was a kind of a trial by fire trip for her. So Kalani, what were the highlights for you?
It was my test.
It was well, no, it was a test in that I needed you to see if you could deal with my crazy family and would even want to still be with me after meeting, the pack of rabid wolves I came from. So yeah, but yeah, they all loved her and she loved them, and it was a great old time. But we spent the first few days in London. So Kalani is like her passion is planning trips. So she planned a whole bunch of stuff for us. So what's some of the stuff that you planned?
Well, I don't know if it's my passion to plan trips, but I just like to plan. But we had a great time. We went to the changing of the guard, and we got to see the beef eaters, and the guys with the big black hats there, and in London, and we saw Buckingham Palace, and we went to, what else did we do? We went to the British Museum.
Yep.
We skipped the line. It was like a 3-hour wait for that, but I made reservations weeks ahead of time so we could skip that line, and we went to the Lion King.
Yeah, that was one of the things my mom wanted to do, was see like a big Broadway type show, and we ended up choosing the Lion King based on the fact that one of our people, it was a 7-year-old boy. We figured, let's pick the musical that would probably hold his interest the best. Oh, hey, here's my cat Cubert getting right in the shot. Hey, buddy. It's fine. It's totally fine. It adds human interest. But I'm a bear. So that was neat. We also hit we found this really cool like sci-fi type stuff store, like comic shop, collectibles and everything in the middle of London, and that was neat. But yeah, and then after that we went to I should say, before we left London, I managed to meet up with Charlie Mossison from the group Flat 29.
Nice.
And where did we go to eat? We went to Nando's. This FuMPCast is brought to you by Nando's. Get your Nando's peri peri sauce whenever you're in England, or at the one store in Chicago that is apparently there. for all the Flat 29 fans. If you haven't heard of Flat 29, they're an amazing comedy music trio. They haven't made anything since about 2020, but please look up their music. It's the best. And they're here on the FuMP as well. So I got to see him. Anyway, so then the next few days after that, we went to Norwich, where Michael and Anu actually live. So we got to see their actual house and do some things out there. And it was out in that area that we found a store. I believe it was simply called like the Television and Movie Store. It was like the most British named fandom place ever. And we went in there, and there was just gobs of everything that we all love, and tons of T-shirts that I hadn't, I had never seen any of these designs pretty much anywhere. So I was there trying to rationally figure out, like, oh, they have a deal, like, 3 shirt, this category of shirts is like, what was it, 3 for £40 or something like?
40.
Yeah, 3 for 40. And I had picked out like 11 shirts I was considering getting, and I'm sitting there trying to like parse it down to, a multiple of 3 that makes sense. Because, I'm certainly not going to buy like 9 T-shirts. And then my girlfriend bought me 9 T-shirts. So, because she had decided that I had a souvenir budget, and that it's like, okay, I'll buy 9 T-shirts, 3 posters, and this lovely young woman right here, Jodie Whittaker as the 13th. She's 13.
13th. The 13th. Yep.
So that was kind of weird. Like, we go to see all this culture and stuff like that, and where do I spend a big chunk of money? At the Television and Movie Store, getting Marvel, Star Wars, and Doctor Who related T-shirts, like the one I am currently wearing right now. So, yeah. Anything else about Norwich? That trip? Oh no,
It was a Star Wars dungeon store. It was a Star Wars store.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it was another kind of collectible store, but down in like a lower part of it, somebody had made all these custom figures of like all of the creatures in Jabba's palace and stuff like that, like a big thing. So I mean, that was really cool. They had like all these display cases with all kinds of different merch from so many weird things from pop culture, and then in one section of Disney stuff, they actually had 5 or 6 pieces of merch from the movie Meet the Robinsons from 2007, which we all know is one of my personal favorites, and I was just like, oh my god, they actually have Meet the Robinsons stuff here. Some of which are things that I know I own back in my my storage in Wisconsin at my mom and my sister's place. But yeah, we also, because my brother JT and his son Max are into soccer, we went to like a proper British pub to watch a soccer match. It was like Britain versus Scotland, I think. And it was so hilarious. It was like a Ted Lasso LARP come to life or something like that. Because like there's my brother and there's 7-year-old Max. And then, there's these guys in a scar. It's like, get him, you fucking wanker! Like people yelling their heads off and stuff. So, it was so wonderful. So then after that part of the trip ended, Kalani and I by ourselves went off to Disneyland Paris. Yay! And yeah, so probably the most amazing thing I saw there is something I've never seen at a park before, which were signs in the merch stores that said 50% off and 70% off. I have never seen a Disney gift shop put things on a discount, and certainly not anything that huge. And that made me basically be like, every time we hit a gift shop, I'm like, okay, let me find the stuff. So basically here, I'll show you one of the things I got at a 70% discount was, this toy box set of Guardians of the Galaxy figures. It was originally, 35 euros. I got it for 10? Something like that? Yeah, so that's cool.
Nice.
This was 35 and marked down to 20. It's from The Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker with Grogu and R2. And this one was regular price, but I didn't care. It is Yoda and also Force Ghost Yoda.
Nice.
Both in the same package for whatever reason. So, because you know me, I got to have my action figures. But yeah, Disneyland Paris was amazing. Their version of Space Mountain is the best one of all the ones I've ridden. Their version of Haunted Mansion, which is called Phantom Manor, is dope AF. I mean, wow. They're over in the Disney Hollywood Studios Park. There's a Avengers coaster called Avengers Assemble Flight Force or something like that. I don't know. It's basically Iron Man and Captain Marvel team up based ride. It's really cool. But the best ride, I think you'll tell them about the best ride. The Ratatouille.
Oh yes, that was amazing. It was like Rise of the Resistance, if you've ever seen that. Anyway, it's like you're fully immersed in the world of Ratatouille. Like you feel like you're a mouse and you're going through all these different areas where they're trying to get you out of the kitchen, but the screen is 3D without wearing 3D glasses, and you're in this trackless coaster. And it feels like you're falling, you're getting spun around, you're under the stove, and then there's fire and you can feel the heat. And there's they pop a bottle of champagne, you get wet. I mean, it was really cool, and it was really immersive. Actually, you didn't say the important part about Disneyland. I mean, it was a wonderful park. I'd like to go back again. I felt like we were poor, though. I felt like it was the rich Disney of the world, like everybody had on Gucci and Louis Vuitton shoes and Prada and Rolexes. I mean, if I had a Rolex, I'm not going to wear that to Disneyland, for God's sake.
Did you miss the part where I'm looking for the 70% off Guardians action figures? Those aren't the things I pay attention to.
Well, yeah, I got a purse for 70% off, like a lounge fly, like a Marvel. Those things are normally $100. I got it for $20. So that was cool. But I just thought that was interesting about we're at Disneyland and we're wearing Chanel and Gucci and Versace, and yeah, it was just I guess all the rich people in Europe go to Disneyland.
Apparently.
And we got to have because of we had to have our moment with Darth Vader. That was cool. So we got.
I saw those pictures. That was great.
Yeah, that was cool because they don't rush you out like they do at Disneyland or at Disney World. Where you just herded like cattle to get through the attraction. They actually spent time and with us there. So it was just a really clean, good park. The people were friendly. It was a lot more space. There were a lot more live action shows there, which was amazing, and a lot of more musicals and live entertainment. So I think it really is the Disney that I would like to see, here in California. But we had an amazing time. And then lastly, we went to the Eiffel Tower and we went to the Louvre.
Yeah, well, yeah, we went to the Louvre for like a 3 or 4 hour tour that basically it's like what do you want to see? It's like, okay, here's the Da Vinci, here's the thing, here's the Mona Lisa, here's the Venus de Milo. Okay,
the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned it into a game of how much of my college education will I actually remember in here. I was basically quizzing myself.
You did pretty good.
I spotted a Marat, and I'm like, it's the Marat. I know that's a Marat. Like it's in my head, and then she got to it, and she's like, this is a recreation of a Marat, and I'm like, God damn it, it's not even a real Marat. The only thing I recognized off the top of my head. And then there was another painter later where it was like, like being the person on the game show. It's like, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know who this guy is. And then she's like, and then she said the name, and it was, I can't even remember the name now. But it was cool to, see all that stuff and soak in the history. And then we spent an extra, whatever it was, like 35 or so euros just to go to the Eiffel Tower to stand in front of it and take selfies like the huge tourists that we were. So yeah. So in conclusion, what do you think of my family?
Oh, I love your family. They're great. They're amazing. I wish my family was like that. So they're amazing.
Yeah, Luke's family is good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I literally have no idea when that was the whole, because we were planning this trip before Kalani and I met, and my initial plan was like, okay, I'm going to go on this trip, and then I'll zip out to Disneyland Paris just so I can be there for a day or two, and then zip back, because I have no idea if and when I would ever be able to afford to make a trip like this ever again. This was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime deal for my family, because, my mom is, she's 74 years old, and she's still healthy and can, like, walk around and get around and stuff, but, we don't know how many more years that's going to be the case where we could do a big trip like this, so I'm glad that we were able to do it, and we all had such a great time, and Bodhi is such a wonderful, cute kid. Oh, we had his 1 4th birthday party, and our gifts to him was, Kalani, tell him what your gift was.
Oh, I just got a Snoopy. Snoopy hugging Woodstock.
Yeah. And then I got him a Kermit doll, but the doll has a thing in the back so you can put your hand in it and actually make it a puppet.
Cool.
So basically we gave him a Kermit and a Snoopy, which I kind of consider to be like, for
that's the Sankowski initiation package.
Yes, pretty much, yeah. It's like it's hard to narrow down like one specific Disney thing, or Star Wars thing. It's like, okay, let's just start with Charles Schultz and Jim Henson, and then we'll wait another year or two before we indoctrinate them into the parks and Star Wars and etc. So, also one last thing before we switch over to you is I did attempt to try to find something that was like, toddler appropriate that was Doctor Who related. I was trying to find something that would be like a plush TARDIS or like a little kid's book that was a Doctor Who story. And there was I did find a Doctor Who kind of like Golden Books type book. I think it was in a 13th Doctor adventure or something, but it just kind of still felt like, yeah, it's way too early a gift for the 1 4th year old who's not going to be able to read for a while.
Yeah. So
I was just like, all right, I guess I'll let that go. But dang it, I got to make sure that this kid, gets into British nerdy pop culture. So yeah, so that was basically the big old trip.
I have an adipose plushie upstairs. That you could have given him that.
Oh, that would have been great. Yeah. And also worth noting that we stayed at the Hotel New York, the Art of Marvel Hotel. So basically, it's the hotel that's very New York styled, but there's brilliant Marvel art everywhere, and they also had like some special you could meet with one of the characters. We ended up meeting Loki, which was great. And then there's like a bunch of really cool dioramas they set up. So like you could look like you're trying to lift Thor's hammer, or you can look like you're sitting on the ceiling in Peter Parker's room because you just turned the picture upside down. It's like, I'm a spider person on the ceiling, So yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff like that too.
Yeah,
so
even the soap had like Avengers themed on it. The food, like it was like going to Comic-Con.
it's like our floor was the Guardians of the Galaxy floor, but our room had Ms. Marvel and Black Panther like up on the wall, so it was like pretty epic.
Nice.
So
Nice.
So yeah, highly recommend that. I mean, I'm sure the main Disneyland hotel, which is all fairy tale looking, I'm sure that's awesome too. But it was like, let's go with that one because that's obviously where our interests are, and the food was great everywhere. So anyway, all right, that's the end of that part. Everyone, it's Kalani. It's my girlfriend. She's real. I didn't make her up. She doesn't live in Canada. And I'm sure y'all will see her around at MarsCon, maybe at FuMPFest. We'll see, because she's starting her new job soon. Yay!
All right. Maybe some of that luck will rub off on me because I'm still unemployed.
Yeah. So yeah. So thank you very much, Kalani.
You're welcome.
Yay. Okay. So now we go to the part where we say, Devo, what have you been up to while I've been off on my European National Lampoon vacation?
Well, let's see if anybody gets the quiz right. What's different about my background?
There's a weird alien guy next to Stan.
There is a weird alien guy next to Stan, but what's different is you couldn't see them before because there was a curtain there.
Oh.
There used to be a curtain there. I used to have a curtain rod up here that I would draw the curtain across, and whenever I was doing a self-tape for an audition, I would film it right here. Either if the best case scenario was if I was sitting down just using my webcam. If I had to stand, it was a little more difficult. And if I had to do a full body shot, it was impossible. And if I needed good lighting, it was a pain in the ass. So last week I realized that my son Darren's little area out there where he had his chair and the Xbox and the TV, he hasn't been using it. And in fact, a few weeks ago, he brought his Xbox upstairs to the living room. And I was like, are you using that space anymore? And he was like, no. I'm like, can I have it? So I spent basically...
Great that you have to ask your son if you can have part of your house.
That's where I rank in this family.
Yeah.
So I... oh, you know what? I just realized I'm on the wrong setting. Yeah, that should be nice and louder now. So what I moved the curtain rod out there so it's up against the back wall, and I hung both the backdrop and my green screen from it, so I can pull it one way and it's the gray backdrop, and pull it the other way and it's the green screen. And I rearranged some of the furniture out there so that there's this open area so I can stand in the middle of it. I got the lights out there. I'll be able to just move the lights off to the side. I won't have to take them down and put them away every time anymore. It's so far it's working out great. I've done 2 or 3 auditions with that setup already, and in fact I have to do another one tonight after the show. So, because it's due tomorrow, and I'm leaving tomorrow morning for NASFIC. So tonight it is. So that was the big, dust up around here. And in related to that news, I got my first audition from my actual agent this week.
Wow.
So that was fun. Finally, I was like, yes, I'm being submitted. Yes. And they actually want me. So I did that audition the other day, sent that in, and, wish me luck. And that's about it. That's it that's going on for me. Harve, how are you doing? What have you been up to?
Well, the usual. Recording new material and obsessing over the mixes.
Yes. Very familiar with that.
And also, I've been listening to these 2 great albums by my late great friend Jerry Samuels, aka Napoleon the 14th. And I've got to commend Michael Lesticat because he went from super fan of Jerry's to management to be Jerry and Bobby Samuels' business partner. And he really, after the 3 of them chose the material, Michael really ran with this and got the right mixes and did all the packaging. He got the terrific artist Kendra Shepard to do the artwork. And
yep, Kendra's great. We've used her a couple of times. Those are the releases from Needle Juice Records, right?
Yes. And he really went all out with finding just the right mixes and the right EQs and the packaging. I think this packaging is right up there with the Sgt. Pepper album. I mean, he's got little secret messages written in the vinyl.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So, but it's a great album, and I recommend it.
Awesome.
And other than that, I want to compliment Luke on finding such an attractive girlfriend. And I love your hair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I don't think it would work on me, but you, it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
And
It's just the cover of the gray, you know.
sometimes she covers her
we
head.
we won't talk about that.
Sometimes she covers her head with an X-wing pilot's helmet and cosplays as an X-wing pilot for her Star Wars group. So.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, I actually wear a wig when I do that. I wear a long, so that the kids know I'm a girl, because the little girls that go to the event, they always see all the guys dressed up, and they're like, where are the girls, you know, pilots? And I'm like, I'm here. So I wear a long wig when I do the Star Wars.
It's a good idea. All right. So, Drew Jacobs, welcome
Hey there.
back. How have you been?
I've been well, thank you.
What have you been up to?
Well, just quite a bit of music, doing a lot of performance stuff. I started last year, put together a program of ukulele music for nursing homes and assisted living and senior living facilities, and it's really taken off to the point where I'm doing anywhere between 5 and 10 shows a week, a month. So that has been keeping me busy, and it's all kinds of music. It's you know, everything from Frank Sinatra to to Alan Sherman, to everything that these nice folks grew up with. So it's a lot of sing-along stuff and a lot of fun stuff like that, and it is really kind of taken off, in the performance standpoint, to the point where I'm starting to forget how to play the guitar. I've been playing so much ukulele, but that's been a lot of fun, and then of course promoting the new single. It was on the FuMP this week on Friday. We'll talk about that in a minute or two.
Yep.
And then getting ready to go actually to Nashville next week for a songwriters workshop, which is being headed up with Beth Nielsen Chapman, who's a singer-songwriter who co-wrote the Faith Hill song "This Kiss," which I think probably everybody in the world has heard.
Yeah.
As well as dozens of other hit songs, country and otherwise. Met her last year at a songwriting workshop that was run by Rodney Crowell, who also is no slouch in the songwriting department. So heading out there for 4 days or so next week. And so getting ready to get material together for that, to bring forth critiques, including some new songs that I'm working on as well. That's always fun to hear folks say, "Hey, that's good," or "How about this?" or "Try that," and so on and so forth. So it's all good stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a busy summer. We're kind of splitting it between here. I'm in upstate New York, just outside of Albany, and also spending time this summer in Cape Cod. So been able to kind of go back and forth, a couple of weeks here, a couple of weeks there, and also doing shows out in Cape Cod as well. So it's been busy.
Sounds it.
Yeah.
So, speaking of your new song on the FuMP, give us a quick intro and we will give it a listen.
Okay, this song is I've been working on for about a year, and this spring finally got into the studio and recorded it, and in my home studio, playing all the instruments and programming the drums and the string section, and then brought all the pieces to a studio here locally, Highland Recording, with a guy I've worked with in the past, Ted Highland, and it's really, it's been a while since I've done what I would call a big production, and I consider this kind of a big production. I was listening to some tunes that I had recorded years ago that I never released, publicly, just for my own edification, and realized, how much production I had done on those, and I had kind of gotten away from that over the last bunch of years. So I wanted to get back into that and really kind of look at, some of my musical heroes that are comedic, and, folks like 10cc and some of the big productions that they used to do, Bonzo Dog Band as well, and some of that kind of stuff. And so I wanted to kind of get into that kind of thing, and really pleased with the way it came out. And while we're talking about it, we do have, it was the first single that I released strictly as a digital single, and has gotten a lot of play on Spotify and other places. And we actually went ahead and produced actual CDs, limited supply, so get them while they're hot. Ooh, hot. And so we'll send those out to radio stations and folks, hopefully to get some more airplay and some more exposure for the tune.
All right. Well, here is Everybody Hates the Baby by Drew Jacobs.
There's a guy flying out for business, spilling coffee on his tie. Honeymoon couple catching up on sleep on their way back from Kauai. Flying these days is a definite drag, but on one thing we can agree. Everybody hates the baby, screaming in 24C. We checked in 2 hours early, paid extra cause our bag was overweight. At security the floor's kinda sticky as we stand there in our stocking feet. We walk past the Starbucks and the Cinnabon until we finally reach our gate. And now a guy who's the size of Shaquille O'Neal is forcing me to share my seat. Well, you're not gonna see a movie unless you watch it on your phone. You won't have a meal or a sandwich unless you brought one from home. I stretch out my legs and I try to relax, but my seat back won't recline. And that kid's been crying since they boarded the plane. I'm so glad that it's not mine. 'Cause everybody hates the baby, screaming in 24C. The parents are sitting there oblivious in 24A and B. They're playing on their phones like they haven't a care. The kid's screaming like somebody's pulling its hair. And everybody hates the baby, screaming in 24C. The flight attendant's not too attentive. She puts their bag in the overhead. Why not put it underneath the seat? Shove the kid up there instead. We land and we taxi to the terminal. Walk a mile to baggage claim. My luggage is lost overseas, maybe in Bahrain. I head for the shuttle to my rental car. And as I step inside, I hear that kid howling from the back of the bus. Now it's me that's gonna cry. 'Cause everybody hates the baby, screaming in 24C. The parents are sitting there oblivious in 24A and B. They're playing on their phones like they haven't a care. The kid's screaming like somebody's pulling his hair. And everybody hates the baby, screaming in 24C. And everybody hates the baby, screaming in 24C.
Very nice. I really enjoy this song.
Thank you.
And it's funny you mentioned being a bigger production, because that was the first thing I noticed when I first heard this song. Was I was like, wow, this sounds like, I don't want to say like nothing I've heard from you before, but I'm so used to just you and the guitar, type songs. And I was like, wow, this is like a really like involved piece of music here. I mean, you got background singers, you got strings and stuff going on, and so it's nicely
the drum
done.
program was really good too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I sound like a real person.
and no babies were harmed in the making of the recording, I should mention.
Good to know. Good to know.
But
It's a great song. I listened to it, on the station earlier.
Thank you. No, and I appreciate that. Yeah, we worked real hard on it.
Very good mix too.
There are a lot. Yeah, thank you. There are a lot of different pieces that went into it, and I'd been playing it out, in clubs and performances for the last year acoustically, and kind of gauging it and changing it and kind of shaping it. I brought it last year to the songwriters workshop that I did last year, which was kind of a funny story. The first thing that they did at the songwriters workshop was everybody had to get up and play a song, their own song. Mm-hmm. And it's 130 people.
Jeez.
So yeah. So I'm going the first night, and people before me are going, well, this is a song about, my father passed away, so I wrote this song. This is a song because my sister passed away, I wrote this song. This is a song, my best friend passed away, so I wrote this. My dog passed away. I said, oh my God, the dogs are dying now. So after all these different folks came through, I get up there and play this and got a standing ovation. Okay, so thank you. So I guess maybe we're onto something here, kids. So and it's gone over pretty well everywhere I've played it. So I said I think this is worth spending some time, investing some time and finances to really make it sound the way I take those basic elements and expand them. My favorite part is in the last chorus with the pilot saying "baby," because I wanted to do something like Alice Cooper's $1 Billion Babies, where he's going $1 billion babies, and we said, hey, let's do the pilot, saying the baby, and it cracks me up. I don't know if it cracks anybody else up, but it cracks me up every time I hear it, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. We are our own target audience, that's the way things work around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of investing in this song, you paid me to make CDs for you.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my first official customer here.
Ta-da! There it is. Beautifully done.
Thank you.
Beautifully done. Yeah.
And what was needlessly meta? Chopped liver?
No, but that was before I decided to open this up to the public.
Oh,
yeah.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. because I've been making CDs for the FuMP, and I've done some for Steve Goodie and Lauren Mayer and Carla Ulbrich and you, and so. But now it's like I'm trying to make this into an actual business to try to get some actual money in this house because I'm unemployed still. So I'm working my way through a marketing course and trying to set this up as a business. And Drew just couldn't wait till I launched. He was like, give me money, I make CDs now." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I was very happy to take your money and give you CDs.
And I was very happy to give it to you. Very, very. I highly recommend. Service was terrific. The product is great. And at a reasonable price.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm going to quote you on that and use that on the website. So
feel free to do that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell us about this songwriters workshop you're going to.
Yeah, this is a thing. I had always wanted to do something like this, and last year, Rodney Crowell, as I said, who's a big country songwriter. He used to be married to Roseanne Cash, who's Johnny Cash's daughter. And she, if you're at all familiar with country music, they both had dozens of hits, and he's done a lot of production. Well, he puts together a songwriters workshop every year, and he brought in, last year he brought in Peter Asher, who produced James Taylor and, of course, was half of Peter and Gordon, and worked with the Beatles on Apple Records early in the Apple Records days, as well as another woman named Gretchen Peters, who's also a very successful songwriter, Beth Nielsen Chapman, just a whole group of folks. And what you did was split off into groups, and you'd get critiqued on the songs that you presented. People would give you ideas. The professionals would give you ideas as to ways to improve your songs and change your songs, or things that they liked about the songs. I was lucky enough to do a song for Rodney Crowell, and the song that I did was also a humorous song that I haven't put out yet. But I've been working on kind of fine tuning, and he laughed all through it. Everybody laughed all through it, and that's great. And he says, "Are you the guy that did Everybody Hates the Baby the other night?" I said, "Yeah." "That was great. Oh my gosh!" So I'm getting chills just thinking about it. To have a guy who is as successful as he is. To say, "Hey, your song is great and really enjoyed it." And, I said, "What would you change?" So I wouldn't change anything, Then he told me a story about him writing a song with Vince Gill. That was a lot of fun. That was kind of a humorous song as well. So it's a great way to get some feedback from people who know what they're talking about. And as well as, meeting other songwriters from across the country. In fact, this program that I'm going to this year is a little bit different. It's a much smaller group. It's 15 songwriters, and several of them, at least two that I know of, are people that went to the same program I went to last year. So we'll meet again this year and be able to get together and kind of take a look at things and make some suggestions and changes. And it's in Nashville, so I'm going a day and a half early. So I'm going to do some guitar shopping and some sightseeing. I'm not going to buy any guitars.
Sure, you're not.
But kind of walk around, and I always tell the story. I went to a bar called Tootsie's, which is right next to the Ryman Auditorium where the Grand Ole Opry was for decades. And what would happen when I say it's right next door, I mean it's across the alleyway, 15 feet. So the Tootsie's was where Willie Nelson wrote Crazy.
Okay.
So I went to the bar and I sat in the same chair that Willie Nelson sat in, and I said, "God, please, one song, Just give me one song that would be as good and as popular as Crazy. And nothing happened.
Well, hey, now you have Everybody Hates the Baby.
But now we got exactly right.
So, yeah. I think this song is going to be a bigger hit than Crazy, so you're good.
From your lips to God's ears. There we go, buddy. Thank you.
I'm going to be writing you 4-figure checks every month from royalties. I can feel it.
There you go, and better get that CD burner going, because we're going to have to make a lot more copies.
Hey, we can all hope to have such a problem.
Right.
All right. So, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Everybody Hates the Baby. You can hear it on the FuMP. You can download it on the FuMP. DrewJacobs.com if you're looking for some of my other material. My last full CD came out last year, which is called, what was the name of that CD? It's a live CD. Get Your Ha-Has Out. That's it. Which was a combination of both stand-up material and live material, music, kind of put together. So, which was something I always wanted to do, and had the opportunity to do a live CD like that. So, it's all there at DrewJacobs.com, and feel free to reach out. Love to get more people on the Drew Jacobs bandwagon, as it were.
All right. Let's do some news.
This is the FuMP.
Your dog bit me, you think you're the victim? Well, here's my new dictum. You're gonna be sorry, cause I know how to pick 'em. Lawyer up, file that suit. I get big money and your little dog too. And I'm buying one of those.
Just suck your brains out, cause she's a succubus and she's a MILF. Mommy, I wanna get friendly with MILF. Mommy, I wanna get filthy with
highfalutin, arrow shooting, hammer swinging punks. Then some doctor says he's moving between universes. What? But I've only been hurt.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
Here's a song just to say I hope you have a crappy birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. There's a God I will pray for you to have a crappy birthday.
40. Time for funny music news. Something.
Okay, let's rip the Band-Aid off, do the bad news first, because we do have quite a bit of good news this week, but we got to get through this first. So, for anyone who hasn't heard, Kyle Carrozza, a.k.a. TV's Kyle, was arrested on June 20th and has been charged with 2 counts of possession of child pornography. That's pretty much all we know as far as facts go. The FuMP has released an official statement, which I would like to read right now. To say we at the FuMP were all shocked to learn about the recent developments regarding Kyle Carrozza, a.k.a. TV's Kyle, would be an understatement. We are appalled and feel completely betrayed that someone who was such an integral part of our community could do something like this. We are still processing the information, and it's going to take some time to come to terms with it. For the time being, we've removed Kyle's listing from the artist page and removed his songs from the random player at the bottom of the site. However, we are not going to delete his songs from the archive entirely. To do so would be to rewrite history and deny he was ever an important part of the FuMP, so his songs will remain in the archive. They can be accessed by paging through the archive page or by searching for them. Our thoughts at this time are with his family and friends and anyone who may have been victimized by his actions. So that was the other thing I did this week, was made a bunch of edits to the website to remove mentions of Kyle. We've also hidden Scooter Picnic at Ian's request, so those songs will also not show up in the random player, but those are still searchable as well. I still have some work to do. I haven't yet disabled comments on the sideshow, for example, and I have to figure out a way to individually disable songs from the random player, because there's a couple of songs that people have requested that I remove from there. So That's all there is to say about that. Unless you want to add anything, Luke, you don't have to. Okay. All right. Let's move on to some good news. Tomorrow, or more specifically, in 2 hours and 10 minutes at Eastern Time, that is, Weird Al Yankovic will have a new song out. It has been 10 years since the release of Mandatory Fun. Al will be releasing the new song tomorrow, Friday, July 19th, with a new video to go with it. And that's all we know for now, so unless you're listening to this live, pause this podcast and go listen to the song and then come back. There, feel better? Hopefully this is the start of regular releases from Al, and it won't be another 10 years before we get another song out of him. And I don't know if anybody's... Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to spoil anything, but I have heard what the title of it is and what the nature of the track is, and I am so friggin' happy. I can't wait to hear it. It's going to greatly increase the quality of my life.
Excellent. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm going to be up late tonight because, as I said, I had an audition. I want to run through a couple of songs again. I got to pack up my stuff for the show. I got to load up the car. I got to get all the food together that I'm taking with me. And I'm only halfway done editing my new stage video for What's Up Spock. I still have another 4.5 minutes to go on that. So I may be up all night tonight. So I will definitely be up till midnight. So I'll be able to hear it before I go to bed, if I go to bed tonight. So, but what I was going to say was, Tony Goldmark on Facebook said that, Al's last album was 2014. He's like, I don't want to say that Weird Al producing music has been holding together the fabric of reality, but gestures wildly at everything. So my hope is that Al's new song will tie everything back up and we can get back to a normal timeline. Remember when the timeline was normal? That was fun. All right.
Hey, did you watch the show Community?
No, I think I've seen the first episode.
So, okay, just real quick, they do an episode where they're playing some kind of board game or whatever that, involves playing a 6-sided dice, and there's kind of 7 main characters in Community, from the study group. And so basically somebody needs to go do a chore or something that run out and I think grab a meet the pizza's being delivered and somebody has to go downstairs and pick up the pizza and then bring it back up to the apartment. So they Jeff Winger, who's kind of the main character, played by I just forgot his name. Anyway, he kind of says I know we'll roll this 6-sided dice as a way to decide which one of us is going to be. So it's here, what are the advice? And then they roll the dice and do a nice slow motion of the roll. So then what the episode is seeing kind of each alternate universe depending on where the dice landed, 1 through 6.
Cool. Okay, yeah.
And then at the end they reveal there's actually a 7th one because Jeff himself didn't assign himself a number, so he was doing that so that he wouldn't have to be the one to go down to get the pizza. But in one of those rolls, things go so incredibly, insanely off the rails. I think somebody gets impaled, the apartment gets on fire, everything goes apocalyptically weird. So that's where the phrase "the darkest timeline" came from. Was from that episode.
Okay.
So I just that with Tony's whole theory there, it's we've definitely been in the darkest timeline for quite a while now. So yeah. I would very much like to get back to sanity.
Yeah. In more good news, our friend Bonnie Gordon has been cast in a new musical, Die Hard Christmas, the parody musical. She is playing the part of Holly McClane. This will be running a very limited run in Los Angeles and in London. It's playing December 4th and 11th in Los Angeles and December 21st in London. So there's only 3 shows, so tickets are probably going to sell out quickly. If you would like to attend any of these screenings, go to diehardxmas.com to purchase your tickets. So big shout out to Bonnie Gordon. Oh, and I finished watching season 2 of Prodigy, which was awesome.
Yes!
It needed more Bonnie. We got to write to the writers and tell them more Bonnie in future episodes. We need a hologram Bonnie on Prodigy is what we need.
There's a new character that is, because the main ship of the of season 2 is, if those who remember how, like, there was a Starship Enterprise, and then there was, that got destroyed, so then it was Enterprise A, 1701A, and then Next Generation, 1701D. So now this is Voyager A. So there's a new Starship Voyager that looks relatively the same, but it's obviously a little more souped up, and they have new things on it that weren't on the first Voyager. And there's one particular aspect of that ship. One of the crew, I don't want to give it away, but Bonnie is the, like, not the voice, but like kind of the voice of the interpreter, because the character doesn't speak English, but it speaks its own thing, and then there's a computer voice that comes out when it says stuff. So Bonnie is essentially the voice of this character, and I love it so much. It's like, I can't believe they went there, and it makes me so happy that Bonnie is the voice of this character. So another thing that's important to mention is this, Prodigy Season 1 was made by Paramount Plus, and then Paramount, because they were basically following the Warner Brothers pattern of, oh, hey, let's cancel things for tax write-offs. They ended up canceling, even though they were in production of Season 2, they canceled Prodigy, pulled it off of the streaming service, and basically pretended it didn't exist. This is like just over a year ago. And then a whole lot of fans of Prodigy did a whole big campaign and convinced Netflix to pick it up, so that Netflix now has Prodigy Season 1, and then, when they finish it up, we are waiting, and now finally, here's Season 2, and, the way the streaming services, it's like they don't have ratings like TV shows used to have. It's basically all about how many people are watching it right when it comes out.
Which is why I prioritized watching this over everything else I'm watching, because I want it to count.
Yeah, so like, it was driving me nuts. I mean, here I am in this once-in-a-lifetime trip with my family, and it's like, whatever it was, like July 1st, it's like, I actually tried one night to stay up late and, like, try to watch, I'm like, I'll see how many episodes I can get through, and I got through, like, the first 1.5 episodes, and then I went to bed, and at some point I just realized I can't, I'm not going to be able to do this, so what I waited until I was on the flight from Paris to LAX was a direct flight, and it was 11 hours, so I paid the $25 to get the high-quality Wi-Fi so I could watch all of the rest of the season, all of 19 more episodes, back-to-back on that flight.
Nice.
It was money very well spent. It was so amazing, and all we can do is cross our fingers and hope that Netflix and Nickelodeon are getting, the type of, ratings, whatever it's called, views, streams, and positive feedback that they'll give us a third season, because it's like, ooh, and if anyone needs any more of a incentive, if you're a fan of the Trek shows from, the 90s, this is more or less kind of a Voyager sequel. I mean, there's multiple cast members from Voyager, in this show, so I don't want to spoil stuff, but dang.
So I just checked. Star Trek Prodigy has a 97% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's doing very well.
It's got a higher Rotten Tomatoes rating than, like, Discovery, Strange New Worlds.
What's Strange New World? Let's see. Star Trek.
And I don't mean to, like, poop on those shows, because I watch those shows too.
Strange New World is 98%, so it's a little bit high.
But yeah, it's so good. And I also want to mention, Bonnie just posted to her Patreon, she was at the Jim Henson lot, like, wearing some kind of, like, motion capture suit thing with dots on it and stuff. So she's working on some really cool new thing that was being filmed, or at least whatever, prepped for on the Jim Henson lot. So I'm so proud of her, and yet intensely jealous of her, which is kind of my baseline in life, is Bonnie Gordon living the life I always wanted to live. So, but anyway, she's awesome. And congrats to her. And watch Star Trek Prodigy on Netflix.
All right, there are 2 new shows on Dementia Radio now streaming. Starting with on Monday evenings, May Contain Nuts with DJ Bouncy. That's Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern. Adjust for your own heathen time zone, wherever you may be. And on Thursdays, before this very show, we have Mr. Mayhem's Musical Menagerie with DJ Max. That's Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. So it ends 1 hour before we start here. The schedule is up to date on the website, so you can go find them at dementiaradio.org. I only mentioned that because Wildcard initially said he was having trouble updating the website, but it looks like he got that sorted out. We still need to update the page of online shows on the FuMP, which I will do when I get around to it. So, welcome new Dementia Radio streamers. Steve Goodie's new album, The Adventures of Super Dork and Fangirl, is now available. It was officially released yesterday. You can pre-order. You can order it now at stevegoodie.com, and it is available on all the major streaming platforms. So check that out. And it has awesome artwork by our friend Chuck, which I can put up on the screen because I still have it from the last time I talked about this. And the Logan Awards are still taking nominations through the end of the month. Go to loganawards.com to nominate your favorite comedy song of 2023. You can only nominate 5 songs in any one of 3 categories, either Best Original, Best Parody, or Best Video. Anything released during the calendar year of 2023 is eligible. Anything first released in the calendar year of 2023 is eligible. Jeff Whitmire's IndieGoGo is up to $2,535 with 10 days to go. And finally, I have confirmed 2 more guests for FuMPFest. I have not had a chance to update the website because this stupid timeline, but I wanted to announce it here so that we can get the news out. Steve Goodie will be returning to FuMPFest this year, and Lauren Mayer will be returning to FuMPFest this year. So very happy to have them back, and I will get the website updated as soon as I possibly can. All right. Oh, I forgot to grab tour dates. Damn it. All right, let me pull up the newsletter. What the hell month is this? June, July. All right, July one's not out yet. So June. All right. Today is the 18th, so we'll start. On the 20th in Oakland, California, Phil Johnson, a roadside attraction. On the 21st on YouTube, Escape from the Secret Lab, featuring the Consortium of Genius. On the 21st in Santa Cruz, California, Phil Johnson and roadside attraction. On the 23rd in Fairfax, California, Phil Johnson and roadside attraction. On the 24th in Nashville, Tennessee, Drew Jacobs. Oh, you're actually performing in Nashville too? Excellent. On the 25th in Brooklyn, New York, David W. Jacobson, and on the 25th in South Orange, New Jersey, Carla Ulbrich. Oh, yeah, I skipped it. Stupid me. This weekend, the 18th through the 21st, in Buffalo, New York, Devo Spice, Worm Quartet, and Bella Via, or Via Bella is a actual name. It's wrong in the newsletter. That's okay. We will be performing along with, I think, 24 different filkers. There's a lot of music at NASFIC. So visit BuffaloNASFIC2024.com, I believe is the... Yeah. BuffaloNASFIC2024.org is the website if you're interested in attending NASFIC. Alrighty. Harve!
Hello.
Hello. Give us a quick intro to your song and we will give it a listen.
Hey, well, I wrote this song, the original, a while back before ladies in thongs in public beaches and pools. Well, it was more unusual. And now I'm worried the woke folk are going to say I'm objectifying women, but I'm going to have to use your song lawyer up. But I want to say, though, that usually, like Drew, I play all the instruments myself, but I had a few terrific guests on this. Joe Monda played the terrific inventive bass part. He's also a science fiction writer under the name Joseph Page. And Joe DeLuca did percussion.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so here is Thong Alert by Harve Mann.
lifeguard, hotel pool. Mostly families, not too cool. Grandpa swimming with some spoiled little squirt. Sitting in the sun, getting well done. Looking for just a little bit of fun. When my buddy at the snack bar signals Thong alert. Somebody's niece or daughter coming out by the water. Nothing but a string clinging to her butt. Drowning in desire, so hungry I hurt, but it's just another Thong alert. She lies face down, unhooks her top. Out they flop, feel the world stop. The sun has just jumped up like it wants a flirt. Staring from my stand, fearing she'll fry. I long to rub some oil on those tasty thighs. Feel my pup tent rise to the skies. Oh my, schlong alert. Somebody's niece or daughter coming out by the water. Nothing but a string clinging to her butt. Drowning in desire, so hungry I heard, but it's just another Thong alert. So I just sit, a dumb dog in heat, to try to walk by and talk to this tree, dreaming she'll be drowning, so I can save her kindly. Silly clown, scared of being shot down, when suddenly she turns her head around and smiles my way at her boyfriend walking behind me. Lonely lifeguard, hotel pool. Mostly families, not too cool. Grandma swimming with some spoiled little squirt. Sitting in the sun, getting well done. Looking for just a little bit of fun. When my buddy at the snack bar signals Thong alert. Thong alert. Thong alert. Look at Thong alert. I heard. Woo! Thong alert. Just another Thong alert. Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Good smoking Thong alert. No joking, Thong alert. Thong alert. Just another. Ooh, Thong alert. Thong alert.
Very nice.
Was there some audio problems, or was it just on my computer?
No, it's probably just a Zoom. I do have original sound for musicians on, so it should have been playing cleanly through, but it may not. I don't trust Zoom.
The main important thing is that the people who are actually watching it on stream and YouTube, like, it is coming out perfect for them.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm fine anyway. I wanted to say one thing about that too, because I would never have thought to send that song, except that I was at a party with my family and my nephew Jeff and my niece Josie and her husband Josh put that song on, and they all were singing along to it and joyously. So I thought this might be right for the FuMP folk.
Yep,
So,
we're the type of folks who appreciate this type of stuff. So, yep.
So I wanted to give a shout out to them.
Very nice.
Well done. Well done. I liked it. Well done.
Thank you, Drew. It's nice. I feel the same. Mutual respect.
So is this from
I'll
your
have to check out
album?
more.
Was it Songs from My Past, I think is what it's called?
This was the album it was on. It was called, yeah, you're right, Comedy from My Past.
Comedy from My Past, that's what it was.
I got a picture of me and David Letterman on the back.
Oh, you met David Letterman?
Yeah, I was on the show 6 times.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could see him online. Yeah, I used to always tell people before, things were on YouTube, and they'd say, "Oh yeah, right." So, so now I can prove it. All the shows are find them on YouTube. Well, there was one moment I did with Terry Garr that I had up, and for some reason they took it down. I don't know why.
Probably a copyright thing.
Yeah,
because like it's all like bots fighting each other online for copyright. Like I'll put up a song, and and then that company that I put it up with, tries to take it down off of YouTube, even though I'm the one who put my song up on YouTube, and it's like, yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
I've been curious to ask all you guys, how much do you listen to your own material?
I do occasionally. I do occasionally. I find that like if I'm if I'm like talking to someone and they're excited about my music and they buy an album, when I leave the event where I sold that album, I tend to want to listen to that album just so I could see like, well, here's what they're experiencing for the first time, and then I'll listen to it again. I do listen to like my newer songs that I haven't put on an album yet. I listen to those fairly regularly so that I can, just keep them in mind as like which songs I want to include, which songs I want to cut, and maybe what order I want to put them in. I'm not my own favorite artist, but I do listen to my own stuff now and then.
Yeah, I also I've got my stuff on my own iPod, my iPhone, so it'll pop up, in rotation from time to time, and I'll usually listen to it and enjoy it.
Do you find that I find with me there's times where the critic in me is out in full bloom.
Oh yeah,
that I have to turn it off because I'm gonna be saying this stuff bass loud enough, and that. But then there's other times, and when I'm in the right frame of mind, where hey, I put a lot of time in. It's my taste. Why wouldn't I enjoy it?
Right.
Yeah, part of the reason I do go back and listen to some stuff is because there are memories associated with each song, whether it was from the creation or like a specific performance or something like that, and I just love reliving some of those moments. Like our friend Grandpa Choco of Throwing Toasters says he hates listening to his own music, and I always thought that was weird because like it was like, if you're making something you don't enjoy listening to, why are you making it? It's like, yeah. I've always felt that if you don't enjoy your own artwork, you're doing something fundamentally wrong. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's like my whole MO for making comedy music, going back to the beginning, was I had ideas for songs that I felt needed to exist and nobody was making them. So, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yes.
I will make these song parodies. I will do the Fushnickens parody about Star Trek and the Cypress Hill parody about Pinky and the Brain, etc., etc., etc. So, I mean, I don't typically sit around like jamming out to my own music, but I make it because I want to hear those songs exist and be like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, this is the thing I wanted to do, So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I was really happy that Lawyer Up was used in the promo because I'm so happy with that song. So I was like, yeah, Lawyer Up. Anyway.
I love that tune. I've listened to it several times.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know Luke is on it too.
Yep.
So it's a nice team effort. I had mentioned Jerry earlier, and this is such a happy show. I don't like to bring up, but I have one big regret. But Jerry was my good friend, and he on this album, he was planning on using my song "You Can't Remember Your Name," which we changed the lyrics to "I Can't Remember Your Name," which because his hit song was in the first person. And let's say I dropped the ball, but I changed formats, and the special effects on that song were like they were like the hook, and I could no longer duplicate them. And then I went on the road, so it was, I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but it's one of my regrets in life. But I was compensated because when Jerry rewrote the lyrics to "Shelter of Your Arms," I was the only one that ever recorded it with Jerry. Except now that Michael's album is out, now you have a recording of Jerry doing it, which is a great, probably the best version because he wrote it. And I don't know why I brought that up, but I had the album sitting here and it seemed pertinent for some reason.
Hey, we got to talk about something on this show, so, you know.
How about you guys? Do you have any regrets of anything that, like you put a record out and then suddenly you've got better lyrics and the thing's already out on Spotify and everywhere?
I'd have to think about that. I'm sure.
I remember,
but I'd have to think about it.
On my first album, I did a parody. It's not a song that like I perform anymore or really feel applies to my life anymore. But back then, I did a parody. Maybe I should bring it now. Bring it back. Come to think of it, I did a parody of Bruce Springsteen's "Born to Run" called "Born to Lose," basically about how, kind of the Murphy's Law crappiness of things that kind of kept happening to my life, and most of the lyrics were, about real things that happened. And it was aight, for the time. But like as soon as I got done recording it, and this was back when I had to go to, I had to pay somebody an engineer to be in the studio. I had to get him to help me make the music and all this stuff. So it wasn't like now where you can just, flip on your laptop and turn on GarageBand and, make an 80-minute album and have Devo Spice printed up on CDs, and pay him for it. It's, this is when it was a lot more difficult to make things happen. And as soon as I got done recording, because I'm just singing it in my own voice, it's an offer you just can't refuse. Dorks like me, baby, we were born to lose. But my voice being much younger and much more, but whatever. So as soon as I get done with recording, and like a day or two later, I thought to myself, it's like, why didn't I sing it doing a Bruce Springsteen impression? That would have covered up all of the faultiness of my vocals. It could have been like, it's an offer you just can't refuse, 'cause dogs like me, baby, we were born to lose. It's like, that would have been, why didn't I do it?
That's a good impersonation, or I might feel worse about it.
Because one of the things I can apparently do well, according to Devo and some others, is do song parodies doing the voice of some other person. I tend to do that pretty well.
That's a hard voice to do, too. Yeah. I'm impressed.
To be honest with you, Luke, there's no reason why you can't go back and redo that. We did, when we did the in the year 2020 song, the parody that I did, the Zager and Evans thing, I did it, and a friend of mine that had produced one of my CDs, Sandy McKnight, said, "Gee, I wish you would, called me. I had some great ideas for that." And I said, "Okay, let's do another version." What are we going to get vilified in the press? I mean, who cares? Come on, if we can make it better, let's do it again. And so we did. We wound up re-recording it. He had a guy named Fernando Perdomo, who's a really hot producer and musician, do the whole backing track, and I sang the lead, and Sandy did the backing vocals, and we used some of his lyrics and some of my lyrics, and it came out great. So there's no reason not to redo it. And even the Stars go back and redo that whole that whole unplugged thing back in the 80s and 90s, you know, was exactly that, going back and taking their songs and redoing them differently. Why not?
You can put it as a bonus cut on your next album.
Right.
Yep. I do have a small one that happened recently, actually. It's not so much of regret, just kind of like an unfortunate turn of events. I released an album of cover songs a couple of months ago, and the first track is a cover of It's All About the Pentiums by Weird Al Yankovic. And last year I met this girl in my acting class. We've become very good friends. She's a really good singer. She's into hip hop. And, you know, she was like, I got to be on a Devo Spice song at some point. And when I decided I was going to cover It's All About the Pentiums, I was like, I'll have Shay do it. She'll be perfect for this, because she does have the perfect voice for that particular song, for that type of stuff. And unfortunately, she had injured her vocal cords, so she was on vocal rest at the time, and she just couldn't sing. And I was like, I'm planning to get this album done so that I can bring it with me to RavenCon to sell. In order to do that, I have to have it done by a certain time, which means I can't have her do it. And I felt really bad, and I still wish that I had her do it, but like, I needed to sell the albums at RavenCon to make back some of the money that I was spending to get to RavenCon. So I had the aforementioned Bonnie Gordon do the vocals for that song, and she nailed it, as she always does. But so, like, I don't regret having Bonnie do it. I wish that, you know, the project had come together with Shay. I did just, was it yesterday, find a song that would be another good one to work with Shay on, but I don't have a good idea for the parody of it yet. So, like, I know it's a song that it's in my sights that I will come up with a parody of it, but I don't have any ideas yet. So that happened.
Let me hear Bruce Springsteen one more time.
It's all about the pentiums. It's all about the pentiums.
I don't know. Maybe
you know, back out in the streets of New Jersey, we used to say, "What do you want to do? You want to be them hackers, slackers?" Sarah Michelle Gellar.
All right.
The last time I was on this show, somehow Brenda Lee came up. I think something about rocking around, and I said I have a picture of me and her, which is up there. And we were talking about Rodney Crowell. I met him like very briefly, but I have a picture of him with me when he was still married to Roseanne. And I wish I had these things. I could have had a perfect visual aid for your story. Unfortunately, I'm not that organized that I could find it this quickly.
It's fine. It's fine. We're good. All right.
I'm sure the show did not suffer an ounce.
So, Harve, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I just released on Spotify and everywhere else recording of Tiny Tim doing my song "Shine Your Love," which this one was never put out, and also late great. I put out a recording of the late great Esther Mohawk, who was with Frank Zappa's band for a while, and she did some of my songs, and I put one of them out called "I Never Told You, But I Think You Know."
Cool.
And actually all week I've been plugging you guys, saying, "Hey, Thong Alert is going to be on the phone." So
well, thank you.
I'm all plugged out.
All right, let's do some feedback.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback. Feedback. You know that segment of the show we do about now? Feedback. Feedback.
Lee, let's sing a song about Lee, let's sing a song about Lee, you're testing my ADD.
Eclectic Lee wrote, shoot, no, Carla's tour date was supposed to be Long Island, New York, not Pennsylvania. The editor apologizes for the typo. No problem, dude. I honestly wasn't sure if it was supposed to be New York because there are towns, especially in Pennsylvania, with weird-ass names, so I would not be surprised if there was a Long Island, Pennsylvania.
I also want to remind Lee that now he has to add a column to his spreadsheet to put Kalani in.
Yes. And?
Draconis alert. Draconis alert. Draconis alert.
Draconis wrote, alert, alert, new Weird Al song coming Friday. This is not a drill bit. Yes, I am so excited. I have an hour and 34 minutes left before I can listen to it. Unless I want to fire up a VPN, which I'm not going to have time. I got stuff to do.
I'm going to see Despicable Me 4 with Kalani to kill the time until it shows up on the...
That's a good plan. All right. And over on YouTube, we got some comments.
Hey, Log! Oh my god, it's you, not again!
A-Log wrote, to Luke, here's hoping your European vacation went a lot better than that of the Griswolds. And regarding the new song from Dead by 28, last time I heard the term whippets was when Dennis Leary joked about snorting whipped cream cans in his stand-up. Although I would ask Diz and the crew if the high lasted more than 5 seconds. And Dizman responded saying, I'd say around 10 seconds. So there you go. FuMPCast is educational.
My main question about the whippets... Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My main question about the whippets is, do they have an incandescent scent?
They can if you light them on fire.
I always save it for when it's the most inconvenient for
Yeah,
you.
it is. I'm like, for a minute, I'm like, do I even have that thing on the feedback? Yeah, I do, thankfully. All right. That's it for feedback.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. Now you have a job.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's song is by Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. And Tuesday's song is by Steve Goodie. All right.
Yay! I hope it's from his new album that he made with Chuck.
I honestly don't know. It was a song from August that I moved up a month, so to fill an open slot. So it might be. I don't know.
What kind of a jerk claims a slot and then doesn't put a song there where it's supposed to be?
Hey, I wasn't going to implicate
He must
anybody.
be really messed up in the head right now to not get a song done when they said they were going to get the song done. Does no one have any honor anymore?
All right. I need a topic for this week's Spotify playlist. Any suggestions? Something I can make
Toys.
like...
Incandescent scent.
Luke, you said toys?
Yeah.
I think I can do that. I think there's enough toy songs. They might all be from you, but we'll get a full playlist out of it.
I mean, extend it to things bought at a toy store, and you could play Twister by Weird Al.
Twister. Yeah, toys and games. We'll go with that. D&D. If we do games.
Ukla the Mock has a song called Viewmaster. That mentions a whole bunch of toys.
Possible Oscar has my figures.
Oh yes.
All right, that's a good enough start. I will find more before we and I will do it. I will get it done. It will work. I will make a playlist.
I once considered, like back when I had this concept album, which Devo knows about. I wanted to do a parody of every song on the Beastie Boys' License to Ill album, and call the album Bestiality, like as in Beastie hyphen Al, as in like Weird Al, because parodies, and then ITY Bestiality, and that the cover of the album, instead of it would look like the art with the plane smashing into the mountain, but it would be a giant accordion, and instead of written in backwards numbers, eat me, it would say eat it. So, but my idea, what few ideas I had for that beyond the songs from that album I already actually have parodied, was to have the parody of Paul Revere be about Toy Story and call it Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, nice. Okay. We are slowly but surely filling in this thing. Like, in another 15 years, we'll have all the songs covered, I think.
Yes. It's like, there'll be one Beastie Boy left by then. Probably Mike D. I don't know why. I'm putting my money that Mike D is the last surviving Beastie Boy.
This is something only Luke will care about. Somebody on Reddit last week posted, like, what is something you feel strongly about that they should make a documentary about? And everybody was posting, like, horrible things that I hadn't heard of. And I was like, the Fat Boys were pioneers of hip-hop and they deserve a documentary.
Yes! They were!
Yes, and it got a lot of love. Yes. People really liked it. And it did really well. So...
And, I'd throw, Shock G and Digital Underground into that,
Oh, yeah.
If the Fat Boys documentary does well, then immediately follow it up with the Digital Underground
documentary, Run DMC, all those people. All right. Drew Jacobs, plug yourself one more time.
Okay, drewjacobs.com. I should also mention, coming up September 11th, Trevor Story from the Arrogant Worms is running another one of his online comedy classes. So if you're interested at all, I've done it a bunch of times, taken it a bunch of times. It's a lot of fun. Probably do it again in September. Go to the Arrogant Worms website or Trevor's Facebook and get a hold of him.
Awesome.
It's fun to do. And
if I have a job and money at that point, I might just do it.
there you go. Those are two pre-requirements, actually.
Yeah.
Not so much the job, but the money.
Yeah. Unless I sell a lot of CDs to artists, then,
There you go. And of course, drewjacobs.com. And of course, thank you guys for having me on. I always enjoy it. And always appreciate the opportunity.
All right, Harve, man, plug yourself one more time.
And I have an unreleased CD here called the Best of Harve Man. Where a saint may hide. That if anybody's interested, you can message me on Facebook or my email.
All right.
That's all I got to say. It was great to be here, and I thank you again for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. It's been great. It's been a good show. Let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski, and there's Harve and Drew, and Kalani's over there eating dinner.
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Shout it to random people on the street. And be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
that guy's back out on the streets of the USA. We used to say, I want to park that Big Mac truck right in this little garage. Make it cream, make me scream. Out in public, make a scene. I don't cook, I don't clean, but, well, gobble me, swallow me, you know what I'm saying? USA!